Welcome everyone to Gimli's Forge. We're at the beginning of week 33 of the weekly challenge games, Anloian Priests, which is a Cymanti game, and you'll see that I'm currently sat in 91st spot with a score of 13,700 on the first day, out of a pool of about 6,000 players in the Gold League. So I'm going to play my replay and narrate over kind of what the strategies that I was thinking of at the time. So I start off by moving my shaman back since I can see emoji terrain. I'm not exactly sure whether they'll have a rider which they'll be sending in towards me, but thankfully they don't. So in future days we can think about pushing up our shaman. Then I take an explorer, giving me 6 stars from meeting both of those tribes, and I'm able to use those for a Hexapod which I can boost and move into the Armor Capital, which I now have vision on. I make another and send it forward, and move the shaman back just for vision, though that doesn't really end up uncovering much. Moving it back, I move onto the village, but more so to avoid Amaji since they can't reach me from there, as opposed to actually taking the city, since I end up using both of those boosted hexapods to take out the village, moving the 1 HP back onto the other village. Unfortunately, Aquarion do siege me, but I get 7 stars from meeting them, which is not too bad, all things considered. Then I take roads and place down a mycelium for 5 stars, which ends up getting me 2 connections and 3 when I inevitably take the Amaji city, which 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 would have taken 6 roads to get the same connections, and I have the added advantage of getting the 1 HP Hexapod to be able to heal from it as well. So pushing forward and getting vision from a mountain there, climbing giving me the ability to step onto mountains when I'm coming from the west and get the advantage of the shaman being able to boost me as well. So there I get the connection when I take the city. And yeah, going back to that would have cost 18 stars had I got those 6 roads to connect up. Whereas I don't get the benefit of the movement from the roads, but Cymanti are already so strong in that regard that it doesn't really matter. Moving on to a mountain and finding the ruin, and I get my first centipede on turn 8. And using the monument to get stars from upgrading in the north, which I save, since I wasn't to know that I'd be meeting Illyria on this turn, and I wanted to save up for fishing and hydrology, which I use to bridge the gap between me and Imperius, and take out 2 scout ships, as well as getting some more vision and sending in my centipede. So on my next turn I'm able to take the ruin, which gives me a veteran swordsman. Doesn't end up helping too much, I think I end up just disbanding it anyway. But I'm able to use a boosted Hexapod and a centipede to take out that city there. And just it being a Monday and wanting to learn more about the map, I kind of played this more like a domination than I did perfection. So you'll see I'm spamming a lot of hexapods and getting an abundance of centipedes rather than parks early on, since I want to take out all of the map, get vision that I can use on future days, and just kind of get a feel for what's possible, whereas in future days I may not take out all the tribes and instead go for other more conventional perfection strategies. So unfortunately bridging the gap in the north with algae allowed a rider to come down and take me, but I'm able to recover quite well from that. Noticing that the defenders come down by my weak warrior, and Illyrion and Imperius, I was worried at one point were at peace since I didn't have strategy or diplomacy. I couldn't see whether that was the case. Thankfully I think it wasn't, but they're both able to weaken me quite a bit. I'm using algae for upgrades in different cities, using the killer monument for another centipede. I think there may be centipede number 4, definitely number 3 at the very least. So that's quite an expensive way to do it, but since I wasn't getting many border growths, I was getting a 3 population from population growth instead, then spending 10 stars for 2 pop in giving me upgrades with algae wasn't the end of the world. And a lot better than it will be with the new update, in which it will cost 7 stars, because you'll need to harvest the fruit as well. Then I get my network monument with the mycelium in the north, and use that monument to get a, I think that must be centipede number 4, popping the swordsman off. then just setting up for future turns. Illyria not making it easy for me, really ramming into me. In fact, with a rammer, an archer rammer, and the defender not being able to do anything in the north, so I'm able to take that Amaji city and use a Hexapod and a Centipede again, which are able to take out defenders even when they're on cities. Now here's where I make a mistake. Do you notice the defender which I pointed out earlier, I've now let it walk straight into my open city, so that was not anything I meant to do, so I lose all the stars, but it's not really a concern of mine, since I'll be taking that final city this turn, and so the defender pops off. Then going down the naval route again, I've got 2 Reichi, which are set up for the next turn, and I take my first border growth, since there are plenty of resources around that which make it worth it, but looking around the other cities, I never really found it worth it at any point to get border growth. I mean, the west city potentially, you've got 2 fish and a forest, but you get the same 3 population anyway. So I use the 2 Reichi, one to get vision, the other to explode, and the Centipede's then able to go in and take with that. In the final city, I make another explosion and go in with a Hexapod, then killing a unit to put spores down, and spores become a big part of the late game for me as well, since I have a bunch of centipedes. So noticing the centipede in the north, I've got the segment on a city, which wouldn't give me any benefit with spores. Araichi gets the final lighthouse, and I train Faichi to get the others. So yeah, that centipede in the north I move, so that when I'm able to explode it, I do get the 3 population from the spores, since on either of these 2 turns, so turn 18 now is when I have to harvest those spores in order to get the full 3 population. There's just one lighthouse I'm waiting on, which I wasn't able to train a Faichi because the Hexapod was in the way, the last city I was taking, but I'm able to train it now, and in that city use a temple to get 1 away from upgrading for parks. Since at this stage I'm thinking, what gives me the best value for my stars, and I'm thinking parks, they give you 250 points, temples, which are, at this stage I'm not going to get any of the 50-point bonus for the 2 extra turns, but I am able to use them efficiently, whereas other things just give you points for the population, so I'm actually getting points from the temples as well. And tech is another thing that I'm debating, so in order to reveal the last 2 areas of fog, then I land my Faichi on starfish. I wasn't completely convinced whether or not I go for them, but I do end up deciding to get oceanology. It's 34 stars for 300 points, but I'm able to get the 16 stars back. That run in the north gave stars, and I'm able to invest them to pretty much max out the number of parks I can get, using temples wherever I can, but when there weren't enough, then going for methods like algae and forestry to get the final population and those 250 points. So I end the game with a score of 13,700, and primarily from going from a kind of Hexapod spam, taking out the entire map on turn 17, and ending me in position 91 in the Gold League on this first day. So of course this is only Monday, and I will be coming back, so subscribe to my channel if you want to see all of the updates, and check it out now since I have an array of strategy content, primarily Polytopia, which if you liked this you'll be sure to enjoy and learn something from. This was Gimli's Forge, and I'll see you in the next video.